What's up, everybody? This is Chris from Audio Discovery, making another Cakewalk video because that was the whole intention of the channel in the first place. Sorry about that. I get a little distracted. Really excited to talk to people and share what I know from, or what our conversations are. Amazing stuff. I really appreciate everybody that's come on the channel. There's going to be a lot more of that, but I also want to put out a lot more Cakewalk content. So here I have a screen that's open, and I wanted to talk about grouping and group moves and making your DAW workflow super fast so that you can get results much quicker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull in a multi-track, and this is an extensive group of files. Okay, so there are, when you're thinking about 126 audio files, it's really it's a big tax on the screen. You have a lot of different layers that you're looking at. So instead of letting yourself get overwhelmed by all of it, what I do is I group everything. We're going to pull everything in, essentially. So if you're getting tracks and you've got the tracks that are ready to go, then you want to pull them in. You just drag and drop it into this area. And so what you're going to see is you're going to see the sample rate conversion. It's going to pull it into your sample rate. Okay, so now we have a project in front of us, and we have just a real big list of tracks. And within, this can get pretty confusing, and it can get overwhelming. And so what I do is I look at the description of the and take a look. You can either look at it from this list here or this list here, and try to think, okay, instead of getting overwhelmed, let me just group all of the instruments together. So I'm going to look at my drums, I'm going to look at bass, I'm going to look at, now I've worked with this before, but I loaded only like a few of the tracks in so that I wasn't taxing my system, and I was working on the vocals and some other items because I was gonna start working with them. So I don't know this track list. I don't know what these instruments are. So I'm gonna have to read, and reading's really hard for me now. Okay, so we have, these are, I assume, acoustic guitars. So I'm gonna highlight them and then move them in the track folder. Now I'm gonna name them later. You can name them as you go, but it just, for me to get into the rhythm of sort of knowing what, not to sort of split my tasks, I'm just gonna work on. So the way that these work is that these are addictive drums. So I know that these are all drum sounds of some kind. So they get grouped together. So here's my bass. So these are strings. So I don't know that I want to put stringed instruments with electric bass. So I'm going to make that its own folder. Just so that I can kind of have a consistency, because what happens is that the folders and the tracks will kind of have a different appearance, and I want to not be distracted by that. I want uniformity, and then I'll start to sort of develop my own categorization system, either using the colors, colors and the folders, and obviously the names and the organization of them. So they're going to be listed into a different order. So crash, this is obviously a drum. I may have to open these up when they come. So just so that I know what to look for, because we have drums, we have, oh, I'm sorry, we have, see, look, it already did that. So we can move that into, there we go, come on, there we go. So we can move that into folder 2. There we go. Okay, so I guess it needs to move out of a folder to get back into a folder. So these are strings again. So this looks like it's folder 3. So we'll do folder 3. Now this will also help. What I like about it is that it also helps with bus. So I know what's going to be working in the same bus, so that way, and I'll show you how that happens. But chorus loop, this looks percussive. I'm not going to put it in the same bus as the drums, so I'm just going to have its own. So let's do this. Let's actually, I'm going to misspell, just bear with me. We're setting up acoustic drums. This is stringed bass. And this is electric bass. And then this is percussive elements. Okay, so chorus doubles. I bet you that's vocal. Can't really tell. Oops. So let's see. Yeah, that looks vocal, so we're just going to put it in vocal. So, I mean, you get the idea. So the mellow, harmony, vocal, demo bridge, vocal. Okay, so those go in vocals. And then we'll name vocals. And then the percussive elements. And then this is, so now you start, I mean, with 120 some odd tracks, right, you start to get some kind of sense of organization here. So this is going to be a, oops, I think this should go, it's going to be a vocal. This is a floor tom, drums. So these are vocal tracks. This is a, I didn't mean to do that. Let's delete that one. Let's go drums. Now, this seems like it's tedious, but it actually is going to be one of the best things that you can do in order to get yourself set up for later. And that's what I'm going to, once we get through all this, we're halfway done. Whoa. So that looks like drums. This is stringed bass. This is drums. This is percussion. So this is its own kind of synth kind of thing. So I'm going to put it in its own folder. Name it synth. Okay, so now we have a thing for synth. So we're going to hear probably some synthy stuff. This is percussive. Let's see if we can do like make a choice for drums. Oh, okay. So that went there. Huh. So you can. So this will be piano. This is a new tone. This is a new. So if I go to track here and I press the N key, it'll go to new. Swoop. Let's put this under P for percussive. So move to folder P. I went to percussion. Hey, see, I just learned that. But that's actually something I think that gets. Let's see if I go. There we go. Cool. Oh, we need to put that one in there too. So you can sort of do multiple. This is piano. What you might want to do too is even use numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way, 1 acoustic, 2 drums, 3 string bass. So that way you could just hit the numbers. Anything to make your life easy, right? So even here you can go to folder and drums, right? So you're doing 2 things, one with this hand and one with this hand, and it just makes your life easier. These are transitions. I'll put these under percussive elements. So T, P, and then unfortunately I have to hit the enter key. First loop looks like percussive loop. Yep. So that's obviously vocal, vocal, vocal. All the way here. These are all vocal. Oh, wait, nope. That last one is so T, P, no, V. V, okay. And then this is a mix down, and we will new track folder, and this goes into drums. Okay, we're finally here. Okay, so now what we had before was just a big long list of tracks. Now we have the tracks into some kind of order. Now in my mind, the way that I think is drums, bass. Yeah, so I'm a rock guy, so drums, bass, guitar, vocals. And so in this case, we have synths, we have piano, we have stringed synthy bass. So we're going to have to think about how to incorporate that to where it fits into our logic. So I'm talking about me, but however you do your moves. So in this case, we're going to do, I'm going to put drums up. Actually, let's put acoustic down. There we go. Okay. So what do I think? I want to do electric bass first, stringed bass after that, and I might think let's put percussion up next to drums. Let's put vocals. Unfortunately, I put vocals last, but if I want to think about the vocals within my workflow, I would put the vocals up later in the workflow. However, in this case, there's so many elements that I'm thinking that I want to get working on that I want to start thinking about the early stuff. I want to start thinking about getting a good foundation. When she sings over it, I'm having to be mindful about going back to the other elements if anything is sort of crowding her voice. So when we do, so now I'm trying to think. So perhaps the synth goes here, acoustic, piano, vocals. Okay, there we go. Okay, so then now for color, there's different ways of going about it. You can either color, so the folders are going to have their own color. We'll wait. In Cakewalk, so here we have our drum, our listing. I was going to start talking about Cakewalk's coloring system, but I'll talk about that later. So with drums, now we have all of these drums, and what are we looking at? So we have, if I'm looking at the tracks, okay, we are, so I am looking at, so here's a pre-drums. What is happening during the verses? So let's see if I could spot anything happening during the verse. Okay, so we have this hat, and essentially what I'd like to do is organize this in a way where so I'm gonna pull this track up to, okay, you know what? Okay. So I'm gonna pull this track up to the top so that I'm thinking chronologically, first, second, third, fourth, right? Because your attention, the way that this workflow goes, it goes top to bottom, left to right. Okay, like reading in English. Okay, so now, okay, here we have some layers. What are the layers that don't quite fit? Okay, so we have this here. So these need to be moved up. Let's see if we can. Okay, so here. So pre-drums. We'll move these up. So these are going to be left and right. And you have to just make sure that they so pre-drums 2. Now I wish what they would do is where I'd be able to hold control and move the both of them up. Unfortunately, that is not the case. Cakewalk, if you're watching or listening, please. Thank you. Okay. Now, so we have this. So you, so this Gretsch kick comes. When does that come in? Are we seriously not seeing anything, any rendering from that? Okay. I don't even think that I'm gonna use them. They're likely, okay, I don't see it. You're gone, buddy. I mean, just so many. Look at that. I love it. Okay. All right. So those are our sounds for here. Those are our toms, or here's a crash in the toms. Hats for the, and I'm sure we have, you know what, and actually to give us some real estate, what we can do is move this. Okay, so now we've got maximum real estate. And we have the splash, we have, so let's move the crashes and the splashes all together. So let's go. All right. I wanted this to kind of go a little faster, but with, I think this is a good, I think this is a good example of the amount of work you should put into sort of getting yourself organized, because otherwise everything just becomes a big mishmash of stuff. So, okay, so we have these crashes here, left and right, left and right. So we have a talkback, we have a snare. So now we have a traditional drum kit, and I think, okay, these are loops. This is a supplemental, and then we have a regular drum kit. So let's put that together. So the way that I think of a drum kit is kick, snare, toms, overheads. And then there's going to be snares that are... so I think I'd probably put these up at the top because they, to me, are the principal sounds to get good, and then everything else is going to be like all these other things that They're just renderings of addictive drums. They're drum layers. So what I'm going to do is pull this kick right underneath. Yeah, so we go. So we have kick, we have snare. So snare top, snare bottom. So kick, snare. Yep. Snare bottom. Okay. Rack tom. Floor tom. I guess we'll put a hi-hat in there. Hat. And then overheads. And then crash. And so, okay. So now the drum kit is organized. I know where to find things. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to select all the tracks. And then I'm going to route them. I hold control and then I bus. So now all of these people, these all are routed to the same bus. Let's get rid of the... Okay, so they are drums. And now is where I can color them. So when we see the... And then you can color the folder the same. So, see how easy that is? You don't have to go through individually. You can just color it to the same bus because it's all going to go to the same place. Now, if you change the bus, you can sort of organize it that way. But I feel like I may keep the... Well, okay, here's the other thing. Because what I was thinking was I was going to keep everything on that bus, but I would consider whether or not those sounds are all going to work together with that bus. Say, for instance, if you have the loop that is playing during the verse, right? You know, I'm trying to think of how it's going to work because then I can route things. So if I have the electronic drums and the normal and the acoustic drums, they're gonna hit the compressor differently. They're gonna hit the processing differently. So you want to think about that so that you can organize it here and then route it, and then that's when you start thinking about it. Okay. So percussion is all over the place. Same thing. What things do we want to hit your processing? Because if, say, for instance, you have, and I know this is only because I've heard the song, so that's, you would have to listen to it, listen to demos, and likely as if you're producing it, you're thinking, okay, this is how I want it to lay out. So you're thinking about what in the mix, what processing am I routing to? And that's your bus strategy. So I'm processing this, to go to a chain that's going to affect everything in that chain. So if I throw high frequency gain up, then that's going to affect all of that sound. So I have to be okay with that. I have to be, I have to desire that. Yay, desire. Okay. So we have a reverse snare that hits before. We have some swoops. Okay, so let's do things that happen first. Let's put them first. Okay, and let's make sure that those are things that are happening first. It looks like that's the case, the reverse snare and the reverse tom. Ah, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. So reverse tom goes by reverse snare. The transition goes before the chorus. Okay. Again, it's tedious, but really worth it once you know where everything is. So here's a verse loop, and actually this is interesting. Why? Okay, so that happens after the fact. Okay. Where does this reverse symbol come in? You gotta be kidding me, really? Wow. Let's see. Let's, I'm gonna mute. The system is kind of running away on how many tracks we have on this thing. And that's basically, it's my system. A lot of people attribute it to Cakewalk. I like my system. I don't think that it lags, but there's always kind of issues like that. All right. Okay. Okay. And I wonder if that's a tax on the graphics card, if it's a tax on the CPU, if it's a tax on the RAM. I have windows that are open. I should have started, I didn't realize I was going to load 126 tracks on, but it's fine. Okay. Essentially, that's all we're just looking for. We're just looking for items to be sort of grouped together that make sense. So you see these snares, I group them together. These transitions are all grouped together. Chorus loop, I might actually, so these are explosions. So the transitions, they're exploding into the same thing with the boom. So these explosions and the boom belong together. These loops with this loop belong together. Sing them love songs. Okay, here we go. The reverse symbol. Man, really? Is there not? That's so... And I wonder if that was me. I'll have to ask about that. So this verse loop, do that. Okay, so these go up by the snare. Above the explosion. Okay, like that. Left and right. Okay, and then in terms of the things that are left and right, what's really interesting would be do I want the processing that's happening like globally, or am I going to process these individually and they just get stuck on an effects bus? So that's the question. So right now I'm going to stick them all on an effects bus, but if I need to pull something away, then I can do that later. Okay, so okay. Okay, what a jerk. All right, so effects, I'm gonna color that. All right, and then this gets colored the same color. Boom. Okay, so electric bass. This is super easy. You don't have to do anything. So this goes to its own bus. You color the bus. Bass. I always like an earthy tone for bass, but well, there you go. All right. Bass, stringed bass should be even more of an earthy tone to it. And these are kind of all over the place, right? So let's move these up. All right, so that way, organized. And then these bust and color the bus. What is a stringed bass? So let's try to do another. Let's do something that's it's gonna look like the electric bass part, doesn't it? But if we do it just a little bit different. Just a little bit different. Oh, there we go. Let's add it to the custom colors. Boom. Okay, so maybe not the same, but it's close enough. What do you want for free? All right. This all looks uniformly the same. All synth all the time. So this goes to a synth. Stereo bus. Oh, I didn't name the buses. The buses. So this is percussion. This is electric bass. This is stringed bass. This is synth. And we're routed. We're big. We're bad. We're synthy. All right, so acoustic, fine, I'll spell it right. So here's acoustic, all right. These are bust to bus, acoustic, and kind of weird, right? Like, what's your... What do instruments... What color are instruments? Right? What are you thinking? So piano. Let's see, piano... Kind of think of piano as like kind of like a no piano. Yeah, I guess maybe it's a little bit on the orange side. Let's do that. Okay, so those I should have added a custom colors, but I didn't because I'm not smart. Let's do that. Okay. Vocals. So yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like, do you want the vocals on the same bus? Again, the same conversation. For now, we will. Oops. Oh wait, it's funny. I messed up? I colored these. Let's see. Because these should go follow bus. Follow bus. Yeah, I wish they So, and then the vocals, they have their own bus. And I'll give her a pretty, like, kind of a teal. And then the mix down, we'll keep that. Okay, so, wow, I didn't, you kind of don't expect that it's going to take this long, right? But now we have, it's when you're dealing with 126 tracks, you're going to have to find some kind of organization. So now we have this organized. Now we have it organized in the bus, and we can jump around really quickly if we want to see, okay, so what do we need to do with our drums? And then in the console, they're all organized. Okay, so grouping, super nice. Is elegant. Look at that color scheme. But they make sense to me. Yeah, so this would be how you would organize a session to start to get to work. So I think that's been a long enough video. All right, enjoy and keep going at it. So peace out.